moving on to the last topic, I want to just talk about, like, now focusing on practical applications of everything we've talked about. What can, the young people who are watching, what can we work on kind of after watching your lectures and talks at home? What can we start reading and doing to kind of help us along this journey?
Right.
Sorry.
No.
So in terms of, like, could you maybe talk about, like, the benefits, like, of going on this path? Maybe it's chanting, maybe it's going for nature walks, maybe it's doing meditation. Could you discuss the benefits we'll see at doing it at a younger age rather than putting it off?
Yeah, but for that you need to have the right incentive to do that. If somebody can't force somebody to do it, then it doesn't work.
Right.
But if the parents are doing it, and if they watch and see, so there might be something in it, and then if they say, can we do it? Open them up to it. Not force it down their throat, then it won't work. So, and if you ask me, are there benefits? I can assure you that there are benefits, because I have been practicing many of the techniques from our textbooks, yogic as well as Vedantic. The Vedantic, I won't say Vedantic because Vedanta is only one of the darshanas. India, in ancient philosophy, Indian philosophy, has 6 darshanas, of which the topmost, the first that appears is Sankhya. It's so important that Kapila is the founder of Sankhya, and so important that in the Gita, Vyasa makes Krishna say that among the munis I am Kapila. And the first chapter of the Gita after the Arjuna's disturbance is Sankhya Yoga. So Sankhya is an ancient philosophy which is not like Vedanta, not like Advaita, monistic but dualistic, and there is no creator God there. It's Purusha and Prakriti. So there is Sankhya first, then comes Vaisheshika philosophy. Then there is Purva Mimamsa, then there is Vedanta, then there is Nyaya, and then there is Yoga. Actually, Yoga and the first one, Sankhya, are not very different in their metaphysics. Only in practice there is a little different. So there are 6 darshanas. And the importance of understanding these darshanas, not so much the Purva Mimamsa, because they deal basically with rituals, how to perform them, which is kind of outmoded nowadays, not required. But the others, Nyaya Vaisheshika, no, the Vaisheshika philosophy, again like Sankhya, is totally atheistic. It doesn't have, people don't know. It's to do with how world was created from atoms, and Kannada was the first man to figure out the atomic thing. He called it Anu, and so on. Then Nyaya is about Tarka Shastra and what is just and what is real and what is good and what is... Then you have Vedanta and Yoga. Vedanta is that which deals with the end aspect of yoga, which is the Upanishad. So the advantage of these is to give you the right mind setup, the mindset to practice. So both should be understood. Well, this is the theoretical understanding. The practices are meant to bring about a practical understanding and realization of what has been said. Which is why in the Gita, Gita is considered to be Srimad Upanishad. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita, so Upanishads, Brahma Vidyayam, the understanding of the Supreme Brahman. Yoga Shastra. Why would they say Yoga Shastra? Specifically because Yoga Shastra is a way to find out about this Brahma Vidya. So while you need the theoretical background and the metaphysical understanding, you also need the practice, which is yoga. So both have to go side by side. So I have gone through many practices, and I think one hand, I personally think they open your mind, and they keep it so open that no dogma can actually shut the windows or doors. Physically, it gives you good, perfect health, especially because you don't overindulge in anything, day-to-day life. and because of your practices. You save a lot of energy. And this energy helps you to think. It also helps to keep your body in good condition. And you almost never feel the loss of energy. Almost never. Maybe for 6 days if you are not sleeping or something, maybe, but generally not. So these are advantages, and your voice becomes good. Your memory becomes excellent, although we don't give much importance to memory, but it becomes excellent. And I don't know, there's something, I don't know if this is true, but practicing yogis have something beautiful inside them, which is usually manifested in some way outside. Skin is clear, the mind is clear. What do you mean? What more do you want?
Would you say also
And
that
you're so light. You actually become light. I have surprised Agi many times in the beach house, because when I walk from my bedroom to the kitchen, there is no sound, because I am very light. Suddenly I am standing behind, so the TV, she goes like this. So it's not something special to me. I think anybody who practices the techniques of yoga, including pranayama and a little bit of meditation, develops many of these characteristics. And then also, which is very important, you take life lightly, you can crack a joke, you can enjoy. If somebody makes fun of you, you can always think of it in a funny way yourself.
So it's almost like you're becoming more happy, more carefree. Would you also say, I think this is something I've personally experienced, I think young people deal with a lot of troubles with making the right decision. Does it help you to...
I think so. I think it has helped me many times to take the right decision. Not now, also when I was young.
Okay.
When I was young. But then, having said that, first in your life you should decide what you want to do, and then try to follow that. But any time if you find that this is not what I thought this is the way, but this is not, you should be able to flip it and change and move forward. I have been like that, and I think it has worked for me. And I can't give any reason other than the fact that perhaps through the practice of physically the practice of yoga, and mentally also the practice of inner yoga has probably made the mind alert on this. Alertness is not the opposite of calmness. A calm mind is an alert mind. An agitated mind is not an alert mind.
Last few questions, and I know we have to wrap up. So for chanting, you have mentioned in your previous talks to chant the Guru Mantra and Gayatri.
Yes.
For meditation, for those who can't afford to come to one of your camps or come see you, but they follow you, watch you, is there some form of meditation or breathing that you can suggest now on this video that somebody can do to help them with many of the things that we were discussing earlier?
Absolutely. I'm going to give you something. It's not new, but I have not said this before. There are many things here, when from appropriate time they come out. This is one way of beautiful meditation which anybody can do. First, forget that Om is in any language. Consider it as pure sound. It's pure sound, like the wind blowing Om. So you start like this, that you start chanting Om. Oh, lengthen it. Lengthen the Om. Fix your attention in the middle of the forehead. Knock a few times and just keep chanting Om. Now, your visualization should be that this Om is coming from here, and as you chant, it's coming out from here, turning like a circle and coming back here.
Okay. I'm gonna work on this one.
Yes.
Okay.
So you sit in comfortable posture and start with Om softly and say, oh, so you feel it's coming out because the breath is coming out anyway. Let it come out from here instead of from the nose. Think like that.
From deep within.
Deep inside.
Okay.
And then it's coming out and then coming back from where it started.
And what should we visualize while we're doing
Just a thread or a rosary moving.
Okay.
Oh. And one Om is stop, another Om.
Okay. And what if some other thoughts come in our head while we're doing that?
If you keep doing this, there are very little chance of other thoughts peeping in.
Okay.
But if they come, go back to it.
Okay. So this is helping us to become more one-pointed.
It's helping you to become one-pointed, one. It's helping you to become calm, two. It is helping you to orient the movement of energy in your system in a certain pattern, three. And above all, it's something to keep you engaged in non-despondent thoughts.
Okay. So anytime you're feeling stressed, sad,
You can sit down and do it.
this.
There is no specific time for it.
Okay.
You can do it at any time. And you do for 5-10 minutes and you'll see the difference.
Okay.
The proof is in the pudding, or the pudding is in the eating it. So if you're traveling in a train or you can't chant physically Om, just do your breath like. You close your eyes and do the breath and you hear the sound, consider that sound to be Om. You know what I mean?
If you take a deep
Yeah,
breath
deep
in.
breath and blow out. You can hear the sound. Consider that to be Om. And then see that the breath is coming back again.
And then when we breathe in, is it coming up here?
Yes.
And then out,
Out
it's going.
and going. Like a ring. I have not discussed this before. I'm just discussing it now because I thought it's an easy thing.
Yeah, you can do it before an exam.
Exactly. Before an exam, when you're despondent, when a near and dear one is lying dead and you don't know what to do, you can do it for many things.
Thank you for sharing. I think this will help a lot of people. And how do we know if we are on the right track? How do we know if we're progressing and doing this correctly? Because we can't, constantly be in touch. Are there signs?
See, one of the ways that you know that you are on the right track is that your mind slowly starts to remain balanced in the midst of all circumstances. And also, when you sit down to meditate, you feel very nice and you don't have much effort to sit. Most important is that you learn that the best way to live in this world is to keep your mind calm in the midst of opposite circumstances, pain or pleasure. Not that you shouldn't indulge in anything, but keep your mind don't get super excited when something nice happens and don't get too depressed when something. So if you are practicing regularly, then the mind automatically begins to reflect that.
Okay.
Now, the most important thing also is that then you grow out from your small little center and move outwards. It's a mother looking after a child is wonderful because there are many mothers who don't. So it's great. But when the mother looks after the child of a neighbor, then it's expanded more. Spiritual journey has started. So therefore, these are two things to note. Can we remain tranquil in the midst of circumstances, good or bad? If this is happening, you're moving. And also, are you becoming less selfish?
Okay.
Less self-centered, let's put it that way.
Okay.
And whether you're able to maintain your calmness. And if you can sit and in 1 second go into a deep meditative state, that is a very good sign. Physically, it may be reflected that your health is improving. You feel lighter.
Okay. And do you think maybe if somebody I think younger generation, they like to kind of keep track of things. Do you think maybe having a journal and kind of writing down how they feel about these, or maybe confiding in a friend or a family member,
idea. It's a very good
having
idea.
these things to kind of help to keep
Sure. It's a
track?
very good idea. In fact, if they keep a diary, they should circulate it among their own friends and circles and try to figure out
Okay.
how things are. I think
Okay.
that's a good thing to do.
Okay, great. And also, as you mentioned, to try to keep a regular practice, even though it's difficult.
Absolutely,
We
absolutely.
have spontaneous plans.
If you have to play golf, you have to play regularly, otherwise it doesn't work.
Okay.
I mean, you can, but it's a waste of time. If you need to play badminton, you have to do practice. It's no different, it's more important. So why have we not practiced? So keep practicing.
Right.
Practicing makes it perfect.
Right. So we should try to carve out some time in our day, or at least
Absolutely.
to start out in the week.
Yeah. For that, you have to first realize that it is valuable and important to do it. That's important.
Okay, great. And to wrap up, how are there any books and resources for us to read and learn about? I know you've mentioned in other talks, reading the Ramayana, Mahabharata. Also mentioned Patanjali's Karma Sutra, Search and Secret India, which I've recently read. I've loved. Do you have any recommendations for someone starting to go on this path, and alongside with listening to your talks, and something for them to read that can help to expand their mind?
Yeah, I think if you take the complete works of Swami Vivekananda and start from volume 1 and slowly, without hurrying, move on to the last volume.
Okay.
It's a good thing to do.
Okay.
Secondly, you can take a good translation of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Some parts are complicated, especially the theoretical parts, but it's still worth looking at. And then do the Upanishads. There are simple translations of the Upanishads. I think the most non-sectarian, non-cultist translation of the Upanishad, even though there is a slight leaning towards the Advaita of Shankara. Vedanta is not only Shankara, there are many other teachers. So, is Dr. Radhakrishnan's.
Okay.
Because he had no agenda there. He was just a philosophy man, and he knew Sanskrit, and he had translated it plainly. So you can see the slight leaning towards Shankara in the commentary, but not in the translation. So that is a good thing to do. And please, there is this idea some people have that the Upanishads are very difficult to read. I disagree with that. It's not. Actually, they are very direct and simple. Some of the concepts may be a little difficult to understand, but actually they are not complicated, they are very straight. But even though you can say they were written or not written, they were told. Writing came much later. Told about maybe 1800 years, 2000 years ago. They have things which we still are thinking about today and have not been able to solve. So I think in this, especially for the young, it's a very important thing to read the Upanishads. Now I'm not trying to advertise, but I have 2 volumes of talks on the Upanishads which would be great to read. They call Wisdom of the Rishis 1 and Wisdom of the Rishis 2. Because I've tried to simplify it as much as I can. So you could start with these and then carry on. Too much of reading is not so good.
Okay. Okay. And what about, do you have any suggestions for like 5 places in India or anywhere in the world, I guess, somebody who is a spiritual seeker, want to learn more about where these ancient scriptures are referring to these certain places, maybe a place that they are looking to find happiness, tranquility, understand more of their culture. I think that's something that many Indians who live abroad would struggle with. There's disconnect between their religion, culture, spirituality. Do you have any suggestions of some places?
I don't have any suggestions on this matter, but I think it's good to experiment and find out for yourself.
Okay.
Go to a place, but I think if you have the scriptures and if you're reading them and so on, it's good to go somewhere where there is a practice of yoga, there is a practice of pranayama, but there is no in inverted commas, cultism.
Right. Okay. What about like any places in nature, like the
That is
Himalayas?
great. That is great.
Or some
I would
old
always
temples or
recommend. I
something?
would always recommend the Himalayas because I love them.
Okay.
So you can go to the Himalayas,
Okay.
and instead of falling into any trap, just live alone for some time in a quiet place.
Okay.
Make sure where you can get your food. If there is a close by ashram which teaches yogasanas, go and register there.
Okay.
Do your yoga, do your meditation, go for a walk on the Ganga. Go further up and look at the ice-clad mountains. That can open up the mind. I personally have done this and I know it helps.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're free actually.
Sure. And I think young people love to travel. I think
Absolutely. That they should travel. Traveling gives you something which you cannot get inside the house.
Yeah.
You move. There is a beautiful statement in the Rig Veda, where Indra is advising his disciple, saying, move, O disciple, move, for he who moves, his fortune moves with him. He who sits, it stagnates and destroys itself.
Okay, great. And lastly, I think this has been like questions I've been getting from a lot of kids that I've talked to at Guru Purnima. Kind of in addition to bettering themselves, everybody wants to know how we can make the world a better place. How can we help others? Kind of what are your suggestions? Should we first work on ourselves? Should we do that while we're simultaneously helping others?
It's shining. First, you need to help yourself.
Okay.
Because if you don't help yourself, you won't know how to help others.
Yes.
So the change should start with us.
Okay.
And if not that you should go up to the ultimate till you're fully okay and all that, but somewhere if you see that you're beginning to change, that's the time to step out and make others change.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, if we are meditating, chanting, or doing things to benefit and
better
basically, in a way, we are kind of spreading that to other people because
Absolutely.
we're helping ourselves and we're
yes.
helping others.
Yes, certainly.
Okay. Okay, great. I think that's it.
Thank
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. That was good. You managed to make me think. Let's put it that way.
Thank you so much for your time.